Chapter 42. Nature Transformation. Kaizen's next session was with the genjutsu specialists, a crucial part of any shinobi's training. The instructor began by explaining the principles of genjutsu, how it manipulates the flow of chakra in the victim's brain to create illusions. This could range from simple distractions to complex, multi-layered hallucinations. The versatility and danger of genjutsu lay in its ability to deceive and manipulate opponents, often without them even realizing it. The instructor demonstrated how illusions could target each of the five senses: sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. For sight, he created an illusion of a tree that wasn't there. For sound, he made it seem like there were footsteps approaching from behind Kaizen. For smell, he conjured the scent of burning wood, while for taste, he made Kaizen believe some water he was drinking tasted sweet like dango. Lastly, for touch, the instructor created the sensation of rain falling on Kaizen's skin. Kaizen was then taught the basics of genjutsu, starting with how to cast a simple illusion. The instructor explained that to successfully utilize genjutsu, one must have an affinity with yin release, as genjutsu relies on manipulating the flow of chakra in the opponent's brain to affect their senses. This manipulation is inherently linked to yin release, which governs the power of imagination and mental energy. To determine Kaizen's potential in this area, the instructor provided a basic test device to see if he possessed an affinity for yin release. This test will help us see if you have the natural talent needed for genjutsu. Focus on your chakra and visualize it as a form of mental energy, the instructor advised. Kaizen focused inward, visualizing his chakra as the instructor had described. As he did so, the testing device began to react, its reading spiking dramatically. The device started to whir and buzz, and then, unexpectedly, it sparked and shorted out. The instructor's eyes widened in shock. This has never happened before. Your affinity for yin release is overwhelming, Kaizen. The device couldn't handle it. Kaizen felt a surge of curiosity after hearing this. His rebirth into this world had given him a second chance to hone his skills, and his trained mind from his previous life was once again proving to be an immense advantage. In addition to this revelation, he wondered if his soul was also stronger than normal. He felt it would be logical, and knew that it was a topic he wished to explore later when he became strong enough. In regard to the device breaking, he imagined that 3 Tomo Sharingan or Mangekyo Sharingan users with them active would achieve similar results. He could also see someone like Yakumo Kurama, who hasn't been born yet, achieving similar results. These devices were most likely only used for academy-level students, so if anything it reaffirmed Kaizen's advantages in the spiritual and mental energy department. Despite that, encouraged by the results, Kaizen began practicing manipulating his chakra to interfere with the teacher's perception. The instructor guided him through the process, explaining how subtle changes in the chakra flow could create convincing falsehoods. Genjutsu is about finesse and precision, the instructor explained. You need to carefully manipulate your chakra to alter the opponent's perception without them noticing. Start with something simple, like altering the perception of sound. Kaizen's first attempts were rudimentary, but he was soon able to grasp the fundamental concepts. He practiced casting a simple genjutsu that altered the perception of sound for a brief moment. With a more focused effort, he made a faint noise seem louder, causing his instructor to turn his head as if hearing something that wasn't there. The instructor nodded approvingly. Good. You've managed to create a basic auditory illusion. Now, let's try something visual. Kaizen concentrated again, this time focusing on creating a visual illusion. He imagined a small, flickering flame in the corner of the room. Channeling his chakra with care, he projected the image into the instructor's field of vision. The instructor blinked in surprise, seeing the flame for a moment before it vanished. Excellent work, the instructor praised. Visual illusions are more challenging because they require precise control over the opponent's visual cortex. You definitely have potential in the usage of genjutsu. Kaizen absorbed the instructor's words about the visual cortex, reflecting on his previous understanding of genjutsu from the series. It never seemed like genjutsu had a requirement for understanding the intricate anatomy or the associated pathways involved in the senses. He couldn't help but marvel at the magical effects of chakra, which appeared to compensate for the user's lack of in-depth knowledge. This realization opened up new avenues of thought for Kaizen. What would happen if someone who was extremely skilled in genjutsu also possessed a profound understanding of the pathways involved in how the brain processes the different senses? The only example he could immediately think of was Kabuto, but even then, Kabuto didn't use genjutsu often. The idea of combining advanced medical knowledge with genjutsu intrigued him. A genjutsu user with detailed anatomical knowledge could potentially create even more effective illusions, targeting specific parts of the brain or nervous system. This synergy between disciplines could lead to new, powerful techniques. The potential for creating undetectable and inescapable genjutsu would be immense, and Kaizen made a mental note to explore that concept in detail at some point. As Kaizen continued to practice, he observed the practical applications of genjutsu. Offensively, it could be used to disorient enemies, create false targets, or induce fear and confusion. Defensively, genjutsu could serve as a means to escape, hide, or mislead pursuers. Kaizen learned that some skilled shinobi could layer multiple genjutsu on top of each other, creating incredibly complex and convincing illusions that were difficult to break free from. One of the most critical skills Kaizen learned was how to recognize and break free from genjutsu. The instructor emphasized the importance of mental fortitude and chakra control. To break free from an illusion, you must recognize it first, the instructor said. Once you do, disrupt your chakra flow to counteract the genjutsu. A common method is using the tiger hand sign. Kaizen watched as the instructor demonstrated the tiger hand sign, forming his hands into the specific seal. The tiger hand sign helps you focus your chakra in a concentrated burst, making it easier to disrupt the genjutsu. It's a quick and effective way to regain control over your chakra flow. Kaizen practiced this diligently, focusing on disrupting his chakra whenever he felt the pull of an illusion. The sensation was disorienting at first, but he quickly adapted, using his strong chakra control to break free from simple genjutsu. The instructor would cast various basic illusions on him, and Kaizen would counteract them by disrupting his chakra flow, effectively dispelling the illusions. Kaizen understood that mastery of genjutsu was not just about casting powerful illusions, but also about training one's mental resilience and chakra control. A shinobi who could effectively resist genjutsu could be a very valuable ally or an annoying opponent. As Kaizen mastered the basics of recognizing and breaking free from genjutsu, he grew curious about the broader applications of yin release. It was one of the more mysterious nature transformations from the series, with very few areas being directly associated with it, such as the Nara clan's shadow techniques. However, Kaizen felt that it had much more potential than what was shown in the series. Leaving the thought for later, he continued to practice the basics for now. Kaizen was determined to build an extremely solid foundational base in multiple areas, knowing it would make advanced techniques much easier to learn, develop, and master. By the end of the session, Kaizen felt a deep sense of respect for the art of genjutsu. He was happy to learn that he had an affinity for yin release, as it would perfectly complement his chakra control. Kaizen decided that developing and incorporating genjutsu techniques would make him a more versatile and unpredictable shinobi. Later in the day, Kaizen traveled to the weapons specialist department. Here he was introduced to a diverse array of weapon techniques and maintenance procedures essential for any skilled shinobi. The department boasted a vast collection of weapons ranging from traditional kunai and shuriken to more exotic choices like kusarigama, naginata, and bow staff. Kaizen's teacher for this introductory session, a seasoned weapon specialist, began by explaining the history and significance of each weapon in the context of the ninja world. Understanding the history and evolution of these weapons can give you insight into their best applications and strategies, the instructor noted. Each weapon has a story and a purpose that can enhance your combat style. Kaizen, already well versed in the history and usage of most weapons from his previous life, listened intently, noting the subtle differences in how the weapons were used in this world. He was particularly interested in learning how chakra could be infused into weapons to enhance their lethality and utility. While exploring the array of weapons, Kaizen found himself particularly drawn to a few weapons. Curious about their applications amongst shinobi, he approached the instructor with his interest. "Can you show me the uses of senbon wire strings and the bow and arrow in the context of a shinobi?" Kaizen asked. The instructor nodded, appreciating Kaizen's curiosity. Of course. Senbon, for instance, are often used for pinpoint accuracy. When thrown accurately, they can target pressure points, causing paralysis or even death without much bloodshed. They're particularly favored by medical nin, who usually coat them with poison. Next, the instructor showed him the versatility of wire strings. Wire strings can be used in numerous ways, setting traps, immobilizing opponents, or even enhancing the control of thrown weapons. Skilled shinobi can manipulate wire strings with chakra to create complex and deadly setups. The bow and arrow caught Kaizen's attention the most. The instructor explained, though not as commonly used, the bow and arrow can be highly effective for long-range attacks. Kaizen tried his hand at using the bow, practicing shooting arrows at distant targets. He appreciated the skill required and considered how this could complement his fighting style. He briefly contemplated the idea of infusing arrows with chakra, which could add another layer of potential to this ancient weapon. Before the session ended, Kaizen asked, "How can chakra infusion enhance these weapons?" The instructor explained, infusing chakra into weapons can significantly increase their effectiveness. For instance, a chakra-infused kunai can cut through tougher materials and retain its sharpness longer. With senbon, chakra can enhance their penetrating power. Wire strings can become more durable and flexible, allowing for more complex traps. And for arrows, chakra infusion can increase their speed, impact, and even allow for elemental enhancements. The teacher also mentioned that it was a pretty advanced application that most ninja wouldn't be capable of learning due to the amount of focus and chakra control it takes to perform and maintain. Not only that, but trying to do so in combat can split one's focus if they're not skilled enough, which can ultimately cost someone their life. After the explanation, Kaizen thanked the teacher and left feeling pleasantly surprised by the utility of each department he had visited thus far, appreciating how each specialization could play an equal part in making him a balanced shinobi.